Do you think that race is still an issue? Racism is an issue in America?
Of course. I don't think racism will ever not be an issue in America. I've grown up in a house where we talk about race all the time. My family's very rooted in activism. My great-grandmother, Yeri, she's a very sort of respected member of the Asian American activism community. When she was, I believe, 18, maybe 19 years old, during the internment in America, she would gather the girls in the internment camps, and together they would write letters for the men at war. And since then, she's been working for civil rights movements and has continued in her fight for racial diversity. I'm half Japanese, quarter black, quarter Russian Polish, which is kind of a hassle to explain.
So yeah, you take the chicken or the vegetables or whatever, and you dip it in your ponzu sauce.
My father is half black and half Japanese, and my mother's father is Russian Polish, and my mother's mother is Japanese. I just graduated from MCS, Manhattan Country School. I was there for 10 years, and now I'm going to Dalton. MCS was such a school where we talked about race since pre-K. I mean, we were reading stories about Rosa Parks when we were 4 and 5. But I think it was also a school that was very much about black and white, although we did incorporate other cultures too. I was Asian to them. I don't think I was ever considered black. However, I feel when I went to MCS, it was a lot harder to be accepted as a black kid because it felt like it was offending other people to accept myself as that. I felt like a fraud to say that I'm a black person. Looking the way I look, which is not necessarily Asian, not necessarily black, definitely not black, I sort of realized that this is the way people are going to see me. At first, I think it hurt. It doesn't bother me as much anymore as it did when I was younger because I'm used to it. It's not fair that you have to be used to racism, but it's also something that comes with being a person of color. I've always felt that people have been less called on when they're racist towards Asians than they are towards African Americans, being both African American and Asian. I think it's much easier. There's much less consequence for making fun of an Asian person. People sort of consider them right next to white people on the scale of difference. There's like white and black people, and then Asians fall closer to white on the spectrum. And that might be because generally the color of their skin is lighter, but also because there's sort of this usually stereotype culture of Asians getting good grades and becoming doctors and sort of having this predestined lifestyle where they grow up and they work hard and then they are successful.
He drops the camera in the water, so he has to send them a letter.
It's not true for all Asian kids. It certainly isn't true for me. But I think because they sort of grow up sometimes and become doctors and have money and look maybe whiter than a black person does, people sort of just accept this sort of racism towards them because they consider them almost white and less oppressed, which isn't true at all. I mean, when we think of racism in this country on a small scale, we might think of slavery and the civil rights movement, which does have to do with the African American community. We don't always think about internment. We never talk about internment. I want to participate in this project because I think growing up in a school and in a family that raised me to speak my mind, to have an opportunity and an outlet to do it is very important. And sometimes we don't have the right outlets to do it. And I never just want to be able to accept something, understand something maybe, but be able to change it and move past it.